Everybody please quiet down. We're about to start our meeting. Oh, yeah.
Recording in progress.
The Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of
To America, to the republic for
America,
which it stands,
the
one
republic
nation,
which it
under God,
stands, one nation,
indivisible,
under God, invisible, with
with
liberty and
liberty and
justice
justice
for all.
for all. Okay, very good.
Well, I'm the Khan.
Present.
Alan Dugram,
Present.
Alex Munoz,
Present.
Anna Cali. Everybody, please mute yourself. Only unmute yourself when your name is called. Thank you. Anna Cali. Abram Wolfson. Present. Benjamin Kleinberg. Present. Rabbi Freilich. Beth Slepian.
Present.
Chaim Schneider. Kesky Blau. Daniel Karedna. Daniel.
I'm present, sorry.
David Friedlander.
Present.
David Plumwood. Douglas Jablon.
Yeah.
Edgar Gluck. Ali Tsuduki. Ali Castell. Gabriel Sassone. Jacob Appel. Jacob Haas. Jack Friedman. Jacqueline Jill Rainier.
Here, present.
Jeffrey Dweck.
Present.
John Talmadge. Joe Gross. Judith Ocho Diaz. Jules Fleischer. Louis Lou. Present. Amnun Haq. Maria Retinas. Matthew Melnick. Miriam Hirschko.
Present.
Monica Katz.
Yeah.
Morty Getz. Morris Senderovich. Moshe Friedman.
Present.
Dolly Tessler. Peter Wagenwurzel. Juan Guan.
Yeah.
Pelzami. Sam Stover. Aaron Fuchs.
Present.
Vladimir Rieger. Sol Waba. Jakob Kaplan.
Present.
Yehuda Rosman. Yerucham Silber. Lidl Pearlstein.
Present.
Yitzhak Moskowitz. Jonah Moses. I see some members.
here. Present.
I see some members walked in. Matthew Melnick. Present. Fleischer. Pesky Blount. Who else walked in before I call the name? Yes, Jim. What's your name? Your name. What? The number of people, 758. Okay, so. We don't have a quorum yet, so we're waiting for members to either log in or come in to the room.
Barry, Barry, it's Sharon. Could you mark Ellie Costello present? She's on Zoom, but she's having trouble communicating.
What's her name on Zoom?
Ellie Costello is on Zoom.
How does she appear on Zoom?
I don't know. She said she's on it. She texted me, but she can't speak. Stober is also having the same problem. He just texted me. He's on
I
Zoom, but
can't-
his
I
mic
can't
wasn't
promote-
working.
Karen, I can't promote anybody because I don't see the names. That's why we keep asking members, if they come on Zoom, the names on Zoom should be their name. So there's an option to change the name on Zoom. If you can please change your name So we can know, we have a lot of people on Zoom, so we don't know who's who. We're gonna have to continue the meeting, so any member who is on Zoom, and hasn't been promoted to panelist, please change your name on Zoom. There's the function to change your name, and we'll promote you right away. So change your name and raise your hand so we can see you. Thank you.
Option of the January minutes. District manager.
So regarding the January minutes, a lot of things happened in the last couple of weeks that took our attention away elsewhere, so they're almost done. Just putting the finishing touches, so we'll have the next couple of days. Regarding the November minutes, Beth just sent in her at last month's meeting. Beth wanted to add some stuff to the minutes. She just sent it in today, and we did not have time to incorporate them into the November minutes. So that will as well be coming in a couple of days.
Barry, I would like to add, on the topic of minutes, I would like to remind everybody that the community board minutes are not a transcript of the meetings. Okay, the minutes are essentially a report on action items, what the board takes. We reviewed minutes from many boards, and phrases such as discussions ensured as provided reports and comments. The minutes provided by our board are actually very extensive and comprehensive, a lot more than most other boards. Having said that, since we did not have a recording of the November minutes, that's why I agreed to let Beth and, particularly and others send in stuff, because we did not have a recording of that particular month. But in general, we have a recording of every single meeting. And if anybody feels that something is missing and they want more of a transcript style, they're welcome to go back to the recording and listen to it as many times as they want. So I just wanted to make sure we clarified that. On the other note, good evening to everyone. Sorry I couldn't be there in person. I had a flight issue, and thank you, my Vice Chair Yaakov, for running the meeting. But I just wanted to make a quick comment about the big item we have tonight on the agenda. And because of that, I'll leave my report for next month. But before we start the meeting, I would like to mention something about the DSS and the DHS. Have come to us to present their plan to open a shelter for 82 families at 5001 10th Avenue and 1016 50th Street. We understand that this is a very controversial, and we've heard from many in the community about the concerns currently. That's why we're giving the public an opportunity to ask questions and make comments. All I ask is that everybody should be respectful and allow them to give the presentation uninterrupted. I'll also ask that since we have a lot of people that signed up to speak, everybody should please keep the time limited, preferably to 2 minutes or less, but as short as possible, and especially if people are going to be repetitive, just so if they want to get their name on the record, so we can get as many people as possible an opportunity to speak. I also just want to remind people that although we're having a public hearing, and we'll have a vote later on, that it's more of a recommendation to the city. The city still has the power. They will do whatever they want at the end of the day, and our vote is not going to decide. Besides, give the city recommendation. And I said to most of the people who called me in private or called office, people are free to gather petitions, signed name, as many signatures they want, and the office will be more than happy to attach it to our report after we do the vote tonight, and to let the city know of people who oppose it. With that, I will turn it over to the Vice Chair Yaakov. Please take it off from here, and thank you for chairing the meeting.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Since we have a packed agenda, we will proceed directly to the agenda items. Our next board meeting will be on March 25th. The nominating committee report by Benjamin Kleinberg.
Nominating committee met yesterday, February 24th, to discuss the nomination of a slate to serve as executive officers of our board for the next one-year term. After a discussion by the members committee voted unanimously to nominate the current slate of officers to continue for the next term. The slate presented tonight is as follows: Edel Prostine for chairman, Yaakov Kaplan for first vice chair, Yerucham Silber for second vice chair, and Amnon Hack for secretary. Are there any nominations from the floor? If there are no nominations from the floor, then announce the following. Being that there were no nominations from the floor, nominations are now closed. Article 8, Section 3 of our bylaw states the following. In the event the slate or any candidate of the slate is unopposed, the chairperson shall direct one vote to be cast to elect unopposed slate or nominee. Mr. Chair, please direct one vote to be cast. I'd like to thank my colleagues of the committee, Matthew Melnick, Sal Waba, Chesky Blau, and Miriam Hershko for their work on this committee. And I would like to congratulate the re-elected executive officers and wish them success in their new term.
Thank you for nominating me as well. Okay, we have the Department of Social Services Midway Living presentation given by Christopher Gonzalez, Jamar Hooks, Abigail Aberdeen, and Milton Schwartz.
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me? Yeah. I'm Jamar Hooks, and I'm Deputy Commissioner of the Department of Social Services, which includes the Department of Homeless Services and the Human Resources Administration. Tonight we're here. Okay. I'm Jamar Hooks, and I'm Deputy Commissioner of the Department of Social Services. I oversee the Office of Intergovernmental and Legislative Affairs. Tonight, we're here to talk about the 10th Avenue Manor project. I'm joined by my colleagues, Christopher Gonzalez, who's our Chief Strategy Officer, Abigail Aberdeen, who's our Borough Director, and Milton Schwartz, who's going to introduce himself and give this presentation. After the presentation, we're happy to take any questions that you may have. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Milton Schwartz, I'm Midway Living, I'm the CEO. Hi, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
My name is Milton Schwartz, the CEO of Midway Living. And I want to thank the Community Board 12 and the community members here and everyone that came out today to allow us to introduce our organization for those who are not familiar with it. With me this evening is Neil Klein, Director of Project Management. We have Scott Owetter, who's our Director of Chief Program Officer. And we have Michael Best, our Regional Director, Michael Gariardi, our Director of Security, and Isser, who is our Director of Maintenance. And I'd like to turn it over to Scott Owetter to present the presentation.
Thank you. Thank you. It's very nice to be here. Going to try to make this as brief as possible. This is just an outline about what the facility does and what it will look like. So hopefully this works. Yeah. I'm hitting the arrow.
Working?
Not working.
Can I answer that? It's working in the back.
How about now?
I just confirm?
There, I just hit the button. Let's see if it goes back. Okay. So first of all, Midway Living, it's a not-for-profit organization. The mission of the organization is to shelter homeless families and provide comprehensive support services to help those families get back on their feet. Not working again. Whoop. Guess it takes a second. Hold on a second, please.
Okay, just.
Okay, Midway Living was founded 9 years ago. It currently operates 5 different residences. A couple of them are in Brooklyn already. There's 2 in Queens, and there's 1 in Midtown Manhattan. Currently, Midway Living, if we can go back, please. Go back one. Go forward one. Okay, currently Midway Living services about 930 families. There's over 1,300 adults and about 1,500 children living in the Midway Living facilities. We go to the next one, please. Midway Living has lots of different staff. Midway Living case managers and social workers provide education, career counseling, goal planning to help people find jobs. The facilities also provide emergency clothes and shelter and all types of support services. A big part of what Midway Living does is try to help people obtain tools so that they can move forward and move towards permanency and out of the shelter system as quickly as possible. Next. Whoop, there we go. What this facility is not, and I want to repeat, is not, it is not a singles facility for people with serious mental illness or addictions. This is a facility for families with children. Next. The 10th Avenue Manor will be in Borough Park, Brooklyn. Again, there's 2 different buildings. The address is 501 10th Avenue and 1016 50th Street. There'll be 88 units in the facility. 82 of those units will go towards homeless families. The units are newly rehabbed. They're bright, well-constructed. They're apartment style. The families will have their own kitchens and bathrooms, and there'll be laundry services on site. We can go to the next one, please.
For a second, please. Excuse me, the room is very crowded. I mean, if you consider like not like, do too much like talking, so we can run the meeting smoothly. I hope like, please consider that. Thank you so much. It was very crowded.
Can you just mention one thing, that there's coffee and tea in the back if anybody
And also
wants?
coffee and tea in the back. If you love to have some, you can
Coffee.
get from there. Thank you.
Okay.
Right, you're wasting time, over there. You know what you want to do? Let's her go.
Can I finish? Or
No, don't finish.
Okay.
Know what you're doing. Let the audience go.
Okay, so with Midway Living, with the facility, the 10th Avenue Manor, we estimate that there'll be about 100 adults in the facility and about 200 children, for a total of about 300. The average age of the head of household is about 32. Again, these facilities are mostly for women and children. Can we go to the next slide, please?
Another thing that I think is really important to point out. It's not another thing, it's another lot. Okay. What?
I'm going to remove it.
Like that. Steve. You people on the. Well, I give them that.
Thank you.
So.
Thank you.
Okay. The next point that we would like to make is where these families will come from. The Department of Homeless Services has a policy in place where what it tries to do is put families in a shelter facility where the youngest child in the neighborhood, where the youngest child is enrolled in school.
What school? Yeah. What school? School's already overcrowded. We pay for the school.
No.
We need to ship
Okay.
it out of our.
Now I'd like to turn over the next part very briefly to Michael Gagliardi. Just the thing about Michael used to be Deputy Commissioner. He was over security for the Department of Homeless Services. Before that, he was a New York City police officer. He actually retired as a lieutenant. And Michael is somebody with loads and loads of experience in this sector. So Michael.
Thank you, Scott. As Scott said, my name is Mike Gagliardi. I'm the security director here at Midway. At this facility, at these two buildings, we're gonna have contracted security guards. They're all licensed by the state of New York. We'll have a private company there. We, before I get into that, just so as Scott said, I was a lieutenant. I actually started my career here, working, walking foot post in 6'6", many years ago. And I worked in many areas, narcotics, undercover work, investigative work. And then I went to the Department of Homeless Services. Supposed to be for a few months. I stayed there for 17 years, working security. So I have a lot of knowledge about the security, a lot of knowledge in shelters. And I also am a social worker on the side, so I have some background in that to work with the community and to work with clients. So these two buildings will have contracted guards. We'll have one supervisor and two guards in each building. The guards monitor access control. Everyone who comes in the shelter has to sign in and sign out. Well, if you want, I'll say what you want. You can ask me any questions you want. Okay, I'll be happy to take any questions.
We already lived there.
We have
Thank you.
Can we advance the slides, please? Like all shelter facilities, there will be robust staff on site. There'll be a program director. There's one case manager for every 25 families. There's one social worker for every 50 families. There's residential aides, and as Michael said, there's around-the-clock security. Can we go to the next one? The shelter, family shelter facilities provide a variety of different services. And again, some of the services are outlined on the slide above, but the idea is to try to make sure that children are connected to school and regularly attend school. And the focus on all the facilities is to help families get on their feet and into their own apartments as quickly as possible. Next.
Why it doesn't show me?
Another thing is with Midway Living is fully engaged with the communities in which it operates facilities. There will be a community advisory board for this facility that will invite people from the community to participate. Staff, we will have a staff member that will attend every single police precinct advisory committee. So we know if there's complaints or concerns of the community, that we hear that firsthand. The shelter director, and the shelter director has not been identified yet, but that person will take calls 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And as Michael already said, Michael Gagliardi, he's available to listen to concerns if there are any from the community. Can we please change to the last slide, I think? Thank you very much. Thanks for letting me speak. Thank you.
No one has told
We
anyone.
need to service. Thank you.
Excuse me.
Yes, thank you. Excuse me, again, please, you have the right to ask the questions and you answer it. Please don't interrupt each other. I mean, we want to have the meeting smoothly, and there's the process that we are doing it. Thank you so much.
Okay, so thank you for the presentation. Right now, we're gonna open it up to elected officials first, then board members, and then the public. Any elected officials would like to speak? Assemblyman?
Thank you, I'm a Assemblyman, I'm elected chair representing this community, exactly this community, as well as representing the potential homeless shelter in this community. I just came from Albany, and I would just like to mention two elected officials I didn't want to make it during a budget meeting right now. So first is this Assemblyman Simcha Einstein, and I'm quoting from him. He says, "I do not support this shelter." Several years ago, he mentioned to the developers that this location may one day be a shelter, and they assured me it would not be. So, the next one is,
Actually, you'll get your chance.
He lies.
Harry, you'll get your chance.
Yes, but he won't come down.
The next is Assemblyman Carmen Jr., formerly was city council, and he was working and funding this shelter itself for many years, and voted against tax exempt for this property and does not support this. Again, once again, thank you for DHS for hosting this and bringing your team, and Mr. Milton, thank you over here. And my position is, there is a need here. Well, okay.
I just want to mention there's coffee and tea in the back.
Well, thank you. This is sorry, my chief of staff, and thank you. I know there's a lot of people over here, and just we have to be mindful that there are people who are homeless or are going to be homeless, so we have to take into those account. We have our hearts about being charitable and helping our fellow New Yorkers and fellow human beings as well, so we have to be mindful about that. So, but there are alternatives that I feel that are not being addressed, and why open this property while the city is closing down number of shelters throughout the city with the market. Why open up this neighborhood? So those are one questions I have. And also, I had a meeting with previously several weeks ago. I just want to be open about that. And the question I have is I just want to make sure that it's on record that Mr. Schwartz do not have any financial interest on a property itself except for the operation. So I just want to let you know that that was recorded. And also is placement. Place these families in our community, as DHS would say that they are in control about who are placing these placements for those who live in this neighborhood. And I challenge is to make sure is if you're going to proceed that, I want to see that in contract, that these shelters will be within the community, people who are using the shelters are in this community and nothing else. And I want to make sure that on the contract that it's not for single person, only for family. So those are my concerns. I had previous meeting with them. I'm sure many of you have those answers, questions about that, but those I throw out to you. And I thank you all and thank you to community board for hosting. This is a very difficult meeting, very hot issues. And thank you very much. Thank you.
Shlomo Rieger on behalf of Assembly Member Simcha Eichenstein. By the way, a lot of people ask me this is not in his district, but he sent a representative.
Hello, thanks for coming. On behalf of the assemblyman, like Barry said, this is not in his district, but he still adamantly opposes this, considering that there is a hospital, a rehabilitation center, and a public school within a 2-block radius of his building. And his neighborhood represents the neighborhood directly attached to this. So I just want to put it on the record that Assemblyman Eichenstein is an old, anybody wants him to speak on his behalf and say he's adamantly opposed to this homeless shelter.
Will Lewis on behalf of Senator Chen.
Thank you. I just want to thank the members of the committee board as well for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. My name is Ray Morales, and I am here on behalf of State Senator Steve Chan, who would be here himself. However, he is in Albany fighting right now for the residents of District 17. He did want me to deliver a very clear and concise message. He is vehemently opposed to this shelter. He is committed to standing with his fellow elected officials and the residents of Borough Park community in opposition of this proposed homeless shelter. Senator Chan is a 27-year veteran of the NYPD. Why do I mention that? Many of those years were spent right here in Borough Park as a patrol supervisor. So he's acutely aware of the public safety concerns raised by the residents here. The residents here want to take their children to and from school. They want to go to and from synagogue, to and from church. They want to go shopping without being worried about additional crime concerns and additional city resources being spent on this type of homeless shelter. So please make no mistake, Senator Chan is in opposition of this homeless shelter. 6605 Fort Hamilton Parkway. Our phone number is 718-333-0311. Please call us. Please register your complaints with us so we can document to everyone concerned that we do not want this homeless shelter here. Thank you for your time. Phone number 718-333-0311. Senator Stephen T. Chan. By the way, it's also not in his district as well, but he's standing with the community side by side with his elected officials and the residents of this community.
Are there any elected officials or representatives of elected officials here in the room? Are there any representatives or elected officials on Zoom? Please raise your hand. Alex, do you want to speak regarding this shelter? Alex?
Barry, can you see me, Barry?
Yes, Alex, do you want to speak regarding this issue?
I have no remarks regarding the issue.
Okay, Jack, do you want to speak regarding this issue? Jack,
No, not regarding this issue. I'll wait.
Okay, I'm asking any elected officials who would like to speak regarding this issue. Okay, board members. Are there any board members?
Excuse me, Barry, I'm the mayor of Borough Park West. I've been elected to that office.
Board members first, then the public.
I'm not the public, I'm the mayor of Borough Park West. I'm the mayor
Yeah,
of
we
Borough Park
understand.
West. It's true.
Right now.
These people are here, these are my people. I represent
I
them.
understand.
I'm an elected official. Can I speak
Okay,
for 2
but
minutes?
right now we're doing board members.
When am I gonna speak?
Well, first of all, you didn't sign up, but we're gonna let you speak as being the mayor, we're gonna let you speak, but right now it's board members. Any board members would like to ask a question? Speak. Joe?
Hello, my name's Jacqueline Rainier, and I am not going to speak about this particular project because I don't know about it. However, I was a parent coordinator in Kensington at PS 230 when a homeless shelter for families was put in our block, on our block. And we had many families enter our school while they were housed there. I'm going to say one thing that you may not like to hear, which is that many of the families who came to that shelter were lovely, lovely people who I got to know very well. I might have thought the same thing, but I do want to want to be on record to say that as the parent coordinator, working with a number of families in shelters and one right by our school, that many, the majority of the families were lovely. There were issues that we wanted to work with our police with and that we needed to work with at the Department of Education about. But one of the things I also want to say is that never were homeless members of our community placed in that shelter. So that is the one thing I heard you say that I would want to draw attention to, because we had families who needed it and who did not need it.
Sharon? Sharon? Sharon Felix, go ahead.
Are you calling me?
Yes, you have your hand up.
Okay, Senator Felder wrote a letter to the commissioner that he was against this shelter. That's all I have to say.
Would like to speak, Beth?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Beth Slepian. I'm a member here of Community Board 12. I want to thank you all for coming out this evening. My opinions here are not always popular, and I know this one is not going to be popular, but I'm going to share it anyway. As a Jewish person, I've been raised with the idea and the Jewish value of welcoming the stranger. And I really think that we need to consider what we're saying no to. We are talking about families. Families who are experiencing homelessness, who need a place to go. And I'm hearing people refer to these families as criminals. These are not criminals.
Why do they need security? Next door to you. Why do they need security?
I live in Huntington. I do, however, I do want to raise something that I heard earlier because I don't know if the person speaking has signed up to speak. And I do want to bring up one concern that I did hear come from the room, which is from people who are currently living in the building. I don't know what that means for people who live in the building, but I would ask the developers of this project to clarify what it means for people who live in the building in terms of making sure that they have a secure place to live, that their living situations do not change. That said, I think we should be open to the possibility of families. This is a community of families who need a place to stay, having a place to stay.
Our community are in need of housing. Person or
Say something? No.
Thank you very much. I'm a board member here and they refer to the shelter in Kensington. Actually, it's very close to my home. And that time I worked with Brad Lander very closely, when they start to open the shelter. It is a family shelter, women and children. We all believe that people do have the right to leave. And unfortunately, those families became homeless. They need to, stay in a place. And I understand like it is time to the community. People sometimes don't like it. And even like, the Bangladeshi community at that time, who I represent here, and they didn't support the shelter. And they, like few hundred people demonstrate in front of the building, but it happened. The shelter was there and for years, we haven't heard a single incident. It's a very nice place. People are educating there. They're giving, services like computer skill and sending their family go back to work. Who wants to live in a shelter? Nobody wants to, because this is very unfortunate. I know you might not gonna like it. We always support the community, but sometimes you understand that we might not. And our vote sometimes doesn't work well because, the city official, they decided to do it, they'll do it. But, you came, I really respect, as a member of the board that you came, you express your opinion. And what I'm saying, they are the family, and if there are any drug show, addicted people are coming like criminals, the way you mentioned, you described, it is not. There's children and women, family, I have family here. So thank you very much. Don't get me wrong, this is my opinion. I just trying to explain to you.
Any other board members? Chaim Schneider?
Yeah, hi. Okay. I just wanted to ask if the preferential treatment being placed on children whose school locations are closest to the district, does that include yeshivas? Because if it doesn't, then I'm not sure how you can say that this benefits our community if most of the people in this community go to yeshiva. Or Beis Yaakov, something like that.
Okay, 1 second. Any other board members would like to say something? Okay, seeing none. I just have a couple of questions. My first question was raised by Ray before, and I've had this question since this came up, is every day the mayor is coming out saying that they've been closing shelters and they've closed a lot of shelters. My question is, asking question, would like an answer, maybe the city can answer. Were none of these shelters been able to be recommissioned to house 82 families? Does anybody know why we're closing shelters all over the city and we're opening new ones? It seems counterproductive. Just a question. Anybody have an answer? Sure, go ahead. Yeah. Oh, and another question I had is, was very conspicuous that the city first reached out to us literally a week after Kalman Yeager left office. And I was wondering if that has anything to do with it, because such a plan, such a deal doesn't come like in a couple of days. So this was probably planned beforehand, and it was just very interesting to me that as soon as Kalman left office, all of a sudden we're getting in his district that he used to represent, we're getting a shelter. So I just wanted to know if there's any correlation between those two events.
Good evening, everyone. Chris Gonzalez from DSS. To answer your question, no, there was no correlation there. We have a process where we engage with providers like Midway, and they go through an RFP process, and that process takes a certain amount of time. And
it's after you made a deal with the owner, right? So you're making a deal with the owner first, then you get a provider.
So DHS does not make a deal with the owner. We work directly with providers.
So it's only to do with the owner.
The provider works with the owner. not DHS. DHS works with the provider. Has a lease with. the
Okay, so
provider.
when was the lease negotiated?
The lease with the, do you want to answer this question?
We're still negotiating.
Okay,
There's no correlation there.
okay, the other question, we're closing shelters all over the city. Not only that, the mayor is very proud of closing shelters. So why open new ones when we're closing old ones?
So the answer to that question is we are DHS, we run a portfolio of shelters. There's also, because of the influx of migrants that came over the past 2+ years, there was another system of facilities that were open with other agencies like H&H and HPD. Those are the facilities primarily that
You used the word recommissioned, why couldn't those be recommissioned to house families?
Why don't you use the other shelters?
Excuse
You have them.
So those are under a separate agreement with a separate agency and a separate contract. These facilities, the DHS facilities are in our pipeline because there are capacity needs for homeless families with children. And so because this.
Thank you.
Because this council district does not have a facility, yet there are homeless families in need across the city. It was important to make sure that we have distribution.
Interrupting. Thank you. We're not going to put it back to the public.
I had a question before about the living
Exception, Robert Handler did not sign up to speak, but we're gonna take an exception. Robert Handler, you have 2 minutes.
Do I have a microphone? Yes, I have. Yes. I'm William Hasler. I'm the mayor of Borough Park West, elected by the community. In this question is very simple. We have just listened to Mr. Gagliardi tell us that he's going to protect us from harm, just like Rikers Island. So he's gonna open Rikers Island, and he's gonna have all kinds of security here. So that makes me very excited. Secondly, we have 53 shelters that are being closed in the city. And I don't know why you have a problem, because DHS doesn't have it in their portfolio. So I've spoken like a true bureaucrat, okay? You can do it if you really want to do it. Ask Donald Trump how things are done. You know better than you. I'm not saying that people who are homeless are bad people. I don't know who they are. I know somebody who went to a homeless shelter, they stole his shoes. So I don't know what kind of people are there. There are all kinds, I imagine. Let me ask you a question. This neighborhood, when people get married, young people, they can't find an apartment. You know what? Why are you depleting our housing stock? This developer bought these buildings from Maimonides a few years ago, and he should be turning it into Section 8 housing for people who want to live like normal people in the neighborhood. You have Floyd Barrett's Field, an old hangar with airplanes that's empty, and you can put thousands of people there. Why do you bring them to our neighborhood? It says in the Talmud, it says, Aniyeh yircheh koydem, you take care of your own first. Charity begins at home. Bureaucrats, go down to Mar-a-Lago, learn how things are done, and stop the baloney. Thank you very much.
That anybody here with an life quickly. You can speed it out because we want to give everybody a chance.
I would like to thank the community board for hosting this, but after our mayor from Borough Park West spoke, I have nothing to add, basically, especially about the housing that we are lacking. Housing for our newlywed couples who live in basements. And they can have 88 housing units, that's a lot. And especially, I would like to ask the investors, if you want to do that, how about you do that in your neighborhood? How you fire. And I have a friend who lives across the street from 36th and for Hamilton, with some kind of homeless shelter there. And he told me more than once, he regrets every day he moved there. He would rather move back to one-bedroom apartment that he should be able to let out his kids breathe some fresh air than live in a big apartment without being able to let out their kids.
Francis Rose is the viewer.
It's not very personal.
Marissa Sepulveda. Yeah, 2 minutes.
Okay, my problem with this whole situation is nobody informed the tenants. What about the people that live there already? I've been there 42 years. Is this right? It's not right. You can't do this.
Good evening. I'm here to say that there's only 6 of us left at 5001. Most of us have been there over 40 years, have raised our family, our grandkids and everything. And we never had a problem, Mr. John, about any security. We never needed security, or even police, even come to our building because we're a family. And I'm not against people having a place to live, of course. We want people to have a place to live, but not in our building. You can't do that. It's gonna happen to us. It's gonna happen to us. We've been having to endure debris, dust, everything, construction, where a lot of our neighbors have gotten sick, us included. And we're still believing, and then out of the blue, we find out yesterday that you're bringing a shelter. That's not right. That's not, what are we supposed to do? We gonna have a curfew? Are we gonna have to sign in? I can't have my grandkids come over? No, not happening.
Microphone. I want you to know something. There's a very famous guy, started America, saying crisis is the rallying cry of the tyrants. Let me just tell you something. 2 years ago, this community board was approached and told. Take the mic. Take the mic.
Yeah, your voice is very.
Thank you, everybody. This community board was approached 2 years ago by these guys to give us housing and just to give 30% of their buildings to our community to rent it out. They have not kept their word. I told them 2 years ago, and Esther Friedman knows, we were at a meeting, that they promised there wouldn't be a homeless shelter. We now know that. There's over 162 police complaints against your organization alone of riots. Go take a look at how many times the police came to you guys. You have no control. And even at Floyd Banks Field, your security guys, I spoke to them. Half of them were smoking pot when they came by to check it out. Do you believe in security? The center is right on the corner of a school in Yeshiva. You think there's not going to be any sexual predators coming in there? According to the road, they have to be 2,000 feet away from any of our places. You think any of those homeless people? I've been involved with the HPD building these shelters. It takes 4 or 5 years. How come you got your permit so quickly? I promise you, when I'm councilman, I'm going to stop you. They've been open for 10, 11 years. I'm coming after you, I'm coming after you hard, and I promise you, you will not operate in my neighborhood. I just really did, I know it's against it, and you people, and whoever says coming in their community, I'm finished. They're not coming in this community. Hold on, and you know why? I feel 150.
So thank you very much for letting me speak. Okay, I guess I'm a lawyer, I'm older. I'd like to get all the documents that you people have with the, who's the owner? Who's the owner, by the way? Who's the owner? I think it's, Mark. Is Mark, who's the owner? Why don't you reveal who the owner is?
I think his name is Larry.
Can we get the name of the owner? Can I get a copy of the lease? Can I copy both permits? We will review it, legally review it, and we'll make sure that none of it goes through. As you said, don't worry. We'll start with that. But why don't you want to give me the one little thing? Who is the owner of this property? Is it Mark Bumper?
Please respect the speaker. Please respect each speaker when they speak. Thank you.
The owner is Hunter Biden.
No, you know what? We'll find out the owners and, we'll go up. It's a bunch of 60 devastated buildings. I mean, this is unbelievable. What, I mean, you don't even want to tell me who it is? We'll find out. Okay, goodbye.
And did I say your name correctly?
Yes, sir. Hi, everyone. My name is Ken, sir. I come to say that I totally oppose the plans to have a homeless shelter here in our neighborhood. Simply because I think there are other ways to help these homeless families. This is not, likely not one of them. And when I hear this gentleman here talk about, hopefully the word that word he used, hopefully these kids will go to school regularly. So to me, it's just these go to school every single day. Every single day. Now, second to that is, you talk about high security for these buildings, but you're talking about the building itself, right? You're contained in the building. What happens to the visitors, right? There are visitors, our neighborhood. I don't think it's right to just, put the shelter in our neighborhood without consulting us way before. Right, this is. I think that's right, and we are being stepped over, and I don't appreciate that. Thank you.
Jackie Wong.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead. You have 2 minutes.
Hi, I have 2 questions. The first question is that, because in the beginning of the presentation, they said that this shelter is for families only. So can we ask DHS to memorialize that or put that in writing as agreement? The second question I have is regarding the source of the funding. How much of the funding is from federal government? How much is from state government? Can you be very specific? Under what program or what federal grant does the funding coming from? Thank you.
Would anybody want to answer those questions?
What is the funding source? And
That's the second question.
Okay, you
So the funding source, I don't have details on the funding source, but answer the question.
I'm paying for it.
But yes, it is city taxpayer dollars, a combination of city taxpayer dollars. It's also state funding. And there aren't federal grants, but there are a lot of pass-throughs that do come from the federal government. But yes, it's a combination of several resources to be able to support these families in need and to make sure that they get back on their feet.
And another question, like, how can we memorialize this?
Right. So it's a Families with Children site. The contract, I believe, does say, because of the design of the building, it's individual units. It is specifically for families with children. So, I believe, and so, hold on.
They live for free, right?
There will also be a negotiated contract that gets a public hearing. So you will be able to review that contract once there is a public hearing.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So I'm a resident of the building and we haven't known anything. You guys are saying you have one social worker for 50 families. How does that equate to anything?
That's not what they said.
That is, let's pull up the.
It is 1 to 50. That's
Exactly, exactly.
Right, but that's the
So
ratio.
2 for the house, it doesn't make sense. Or we're families in the building now, are we getting the same resources that these other families are getting? We're supposed to pay rent to live in a homeless shelter? Where middle-way living is just a halfway house and it doesn't belong in rural life. Schools have no room. Our students have to go to other towns and cities to go to school because of Borough Park not even having enough for them. So how does it make sense to us have these random people in our building, let alone neighborhood? They were a rhetorical question.
So far, they've opened now.
To answer the question, what they went through in their PowerPoint was the answer, yes, they were making a ratio of 1 social worker per 50 families. For 50 families, yes, I understand it. So that's not the only staff that's in the site. Remember, there's a lot of cross-pollination between the different programs and different employees that all have a hand.
Security guards for a whole, for the 2 buildings?
I'm answering your question. All right?
2 security guards?
All right,
Right?
so.
We never needed security. We never needed.
We wanna move on, please. Move on.
Forty-four-year resident here, completely against this. I'm with my 4-year-old daughter, bringing people that I have no clue where they come from, nothing against them, but there's no communication toward me. What are you teaching my daughter if I don't pay rent? I pay rent, I do what I gotta do to stay out of a shelter, so you guys bring the shelter to my front door?
Iralis Cabezas, a resident as well at 5001. We have to pay to get our daughter out of the schools in our area because they're overcrowded already. already. So, as taxpayers, we pay over, I don't know, 30,000 a year to have our daughter in pre-K because of the overcrowding already in the school. No one told any of us that this was going to happen. 5 years we've been dealing with dust. I don't know, I think that we're sick because of it. There may be mold, there might have been asbestos, everything. No one has done anything, has said anything to any of us. Anyone living in that building. You're talking about security, social workers, like what are you guys doing? This does not belong in our neighborhood. On top of that, you're talking about 52 shelters that are being closed down. Why can't you just take all the money that they're giving y'all and just put it all into those shelters and keep them there? Why do you have to bring them to our neighborhood? Overcrowding is so much. And then you expect for us to just let our 4-year-olds and all the other children in the community, because you know there are many children in that community, around people we don't know. Again, nothing against everyone that they're trying to bring in, but what about the homeless people in our area? Do you know we live right by the hospital? Do you know how many people there are around that are homeless? And it's overcrowded and children on top of that? You care about the people, you know nothing. You know nothing. You and your people know nothing. It's one
The shul, 2010. Grandfather was there, we here for 4 generations already, and we, all the years, which is almost 60 years, we're building up the shul, other shuls, schools, in the hospital, the home, and millions and millions of dollars to build up the neighborhood. I think it's just not fair to take these houses and put in homeless, which as the owners said, you don't need security and social service and all these for these people. And especially if we need these, there's a lot of couples that are getting married. We need our community that they have the parents here, they have the family here. Why shouldn't it be given for all these people from our community? We hope that everybody can think and open the eyes to see what the right is. And Shem Nasim is there.
I have just a first-time student from 924 student.
Hi, I'm worried that for the drug addicts, we're gonna see out my children. I have 3 children that are ages from 11 to 16 that leave the house at 7 a.m. Now, I heard from a neighbor who lives by the Kensington shelter. She said at 7 a.m. they lock the doors and have all the families leave so they can go find jobs. Not sure how that's helping them by locking them out at 7 a.m. And they are going to be sitting there honest people just sit on the street corners and hang around. And our children are coming and going from school. This is, at 7 a.m. in the winter, it's dark. They come home after, very late, when it's really dark again. And they're gonna be, like, either between 9 and 10, they have to pass these buildings. Most of the children on my block have the same schedule. And on the other blocks, and all the other blocks near it, they have to pass this area. And there's also a park on Fort Hamilton and every third. We get that little, the sidewalk in front of the house is, just this much space. And we just have that park that we have a little room to go and run and play. And I know what's gonna happen. It's gonna be full of all the homeless there, and it's gonna be at the Whitetail Park. Yeah.
I prepared a speech, but almost spoken already. I live in this neighborhood, but being now almost 60 years, I live on that block for 26 years now. I know all those neighbors, know all the people in the building. We have surrounded by all different type of neighbors. It's a very, very nice community. For sure that wherever you go, wherever the homeless are, being with Midway, shown to them. But on 47 on 10th Avenue, there is a shelter. every day, at least 25 times police over there. Don't tell me that that's gonna be, it'll be, and maybe it'll be security there, maybe, and the security guard results can have police for him. There's no reason to bring them in here. We have so many kids playing on the streets, on this block, on 10th Avenue, every summer. More than 50 kids out every night. We won't be able to let them go out at night to play. And we can go out like normal human beings because we are gonna be harassed. These homeless don't have what to lose because you give them maybe shelter, they don't have food, they'll be locked up, they'll have food. That's their only outlook in life. And you should be ashamed of yourself what you're doing, especially we're seeing take off your yarmulkes and go to wherever you want. Get out of here. You only care being a woman. You are bad, very bad people, and you will get paid for that.
Good evening, I have a couple of questions. First, Director of Security, if we're not bringing in criminals, why need the security? Second question, I understand that women might run in criminals, we're the fathers, we're the husbands, why are they not providing for their wife and kids? Third of all, if you have 8 buildings in the neighborhood that are empty, you want to follow up, I'll give you my WhatsApp status. Every day there are hundreds of people looking for apartments in that area. And then once before, haven't called me. I gave everybody my number. Now, how much is the landlord getting a kickback from the city? How much is the city want kickback? Forget about your program. I understand you mean well, but I have one more question. All these homeless that are on your list, are they from our community?
No.
Why don't we put them in the community where they grew up? Put them with their families, put them where their friends are. Put them with their parents or their children or their siblings. Why do I gotta bring them to me? There's a pizza store right next door. I send my younger ones from 12 and down to the pizza store alone. I won't send them to Dunkin' Donuts. Got homeless people living out there and they cause trouble. You wanna bring that trouble up the block? I don't think so.
That's right.
Mike. Oh, no answers.
The mayor's office, and he said they're gonna be from our community. He lied to me. This is the mayor. And was the mayor.
Look, you're the mayor. He's the mayor of our population. Oh, upstate.
And the city collect a lot of tax. If you bring in the homeless here, the house where the poverty where it's done, the city knows money. Why don't you guys accept the cheapest place? You guys don't have common sense at all.
I live on 46th Street between 9th and 10th Avenue. A few years ago, we had a situation where some investors came and they told us they want to make a rehabilitated homeless for the homeless people, not a homeless shelter, but there are people that are rehabilitated already. We fought, we lost. So now on the corner of 10th Avenue and 46th Street, we have wonderful rehabilitated homeless people living on our corner, on our corner. So what we have nice neighborhoods. The police are there almost every single night. We have protection from the police. They're screaming, they fight. We can't let our kids out at night. We can't, when the kids want to come over from weddings at night, whatever we can. I don't go out at night. I'm afraid. Oh, we're all afraid, and this is the rehabilitated people. This is the way the better of the homeless. You're going to bring the real homeless to us. Housing for ourselves, not for the homeless.
Bath on Zoom, Risky Bath on Zoom. Terry Baxter on Zoom.
My God, but there's no skin cancer, so.
I want to hear what you say. Call me Abraham.
You can go.
Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I may be on the other side of Borough Park, I'm on 17th Avenue, but I, as a third generation Borough Parker, care very, very deeply about everything taking place in my community. Because whether it's on 10th Avenue or 17th Avenue, there's always spillover. And it affects the entirety of the community. First, I want to thank Assemblyman Lester Chang for coming with my home. To continue to fight for us, and I want to reiterate what he said. We as people care very deeply for homeless people as well. We do, and we think they're entitled to be housed, and they need to be housed. However, like the Assemblyman said, first of all, there are other homeless shelters that have been shut down which can be used. Number one, primarily, and they are the ones that. Second of all, we are extremely dense and overcrowded community as it is. We don't need more packing and packing and packing just to unleash the developers. And the other problem here is, once you have that homeless shelter, the other properties around the homeless shelter will devaluate. They'll go down in value. That's what's going to happen. They're going to get richer, and you people that are around are going to get poor. I also want to say, and I want to thank our district leader, Nathan Collar, we have requested that we see all of the documentation of the report to get forward. People are voting the party of mine, and I think we should get everything to be asked for, and everything is voted upon and made. And that's why, for all the reasons Amber said and what everybody else has said before, I think as well as the majority of the community, including our assemblyman and our district leader, oppose, vehemently oppose this development, please.
I've been in this neighborhood over 60 years.
Did you sign up?
Yeah, no, I did not sign up, because I came in too late to sign up. Already in place. You to tell me that the buildings that you've been fixing up for the past 2 years aren't already done. You're a bunch of liars. You're a bunch of thieves. All of you.
Mr. Chairman,
We are not going to go to this public session.
okay, the public session is now closed. Is there any motion on the floor?
Motion to dissolve this people. Allow it to happen.
I would like to talk, I have a picture next to
I'm
it.
sorry.
I signed in, I don't know why they didn't pull it. I signed in. I did sign in. I signed in. I did sign in. I have my sign next to the building. Is that okay? I'm there 23 years already. The last 2 years, every morning, they used to steal our boxes, our food boxes from our front door. What are you looking for? I'm looking more to get my business down the drain because if you want to bring more homeless, more to steal more stuff from us. I just can't understand it. We're struggling already like this. We're paying tax. We're doing everything. Now you're bringing people that don't pay taxes, they don't do nothing, and they come and they're gonna steal our stuff a whole day. Shame on you.
Session is closed.
I want to put a resolution on the record. In the record that we opposed this resolution of English homeless shelters in the neighborhood.
Do we have a second to the resolution?
Made Matthew Mullen and seconded by board member Hesketh Wine that the community board should be on the record with a resolution opposing this shelter due to the overwhelming opposition of the community. Paul.
Aye.
Resolution opposing the last shelter, our community. Board members only. Okay. Again, anybody opposed? Anybody abstaining? Roger, you're abstaining?
No, I'm opposed.
You're opposed? Yes. Abstention, the motion passes.
I'm gonna ask who the guy is, so they can see something.
Oh, the guy.
Hey, everybody. If you're leaving, just please leave.